Greetings, salutations, folks. This is Prestigious G. Welcome to the Council of Kings podcast station. I've been on hiatus for a little bit. The season premiere was supposed to be last week, but I had to do a couple of things. So, the plans change, but the plan's always the same. So tonight's show is going to be called "Has the Trans Community Gone Off the Rails?" And we're going to talk a little bit about recent events of Kyle Rittenhouse. So we're just going to do a little one-on-one for right now with Drew Dash tonight. How you doing, Drew?
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right. So, I got this little episode down is with the whole trans community and being, butthurt about Dave Chappelle's little stand-up sketch. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's a little bit of a plethora of a lot of things. But for one thing, we all know how comedians are. They make fun of everything, anybody, and more importantly, they make fun of themselves because as much as people in everyday life want to admit it, the main dumb, disastrous and dark parts of people's lives can be kind of humorous in a sense, and nothing makes you feel more alive than knowing that success is far away for you to reach, and that's human. That's the journey in success is in failure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, but going into the whole thing that apparently, sorry about that. Dave Chappelle said some things referring to the trans community that they did not take well. Whole thing happened about I think it's still up there, but it happened the whole outrage happened about a month ago. And basically, some people, I've even heard the fact that some people who work for Netflix who were trans actually decided to stage a walkout, and some of them were let go and fired, which, in my opinion, was a justifiable response to Netflix and their corporation, because money talks and bullshit walks when it comes to corporation.
Very much so.
So the whole topic for tonight, we're going to be discussing: is the trans community kind of trying to is the trans community, in your opinion, trying to strong arm society in their own different way? Because it seems in today's era, having a difference of opinion seems to be loosely regarded as you being the equivalent of a pedophile or a scum of the earth, because unfortunately nobody can have a difference of opinion.
Yeah, I've always thought that they're going off the rails, man. My thing has always been, if you want to be treated equal, if you want to be treated the same, if you want to be part of the community, honestly, I mean, nobody's above being messed with. Everybody gets picked on. White comedians make fun of black people. Black people, we make fun of white people. Everybody makes fun of everybody, and that's just part of being in a place where it's equal. Now, obviously, we know that there's some, restrictions and some things that you don't go, some lines that you don't cross. But I mean, I haven't seen the Dave Chappelle special, but from what I heard, they got mad about him, about what he said about the baby, which, I mean, I think J. Cole once said, I know J. Cole once said this. J. Cole said, all good jokes contain true shit, and so most of the funny jokes that people think are the funniest, and most of the jokes that we think are good and we all laugh at, usually we laugh at them because we can relate to them. We can relate to a lot of things. I think that's what made Kevin Hart such a big guy because you could relate to a lot of the stuff that he was saying.
That Negro just short. That's why he's funny. He's funny.
Yeah, but all all jokes aside, the comedians that tend to be the funniest are usually the comedians that you can relate to the most.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, I believe what he was saying was true. I mean, he said, he didn't say anything that we don't know. I mean, in today's day and age, if you hurt a trans person's feelings, well, they're gonna try to take you down. You know, or I mean, if you hurt anybody's feelings, you know, if you hurt a gay person's feelings, a lesbian person's feelings, anybody in that community, if you hurt their feelings, they're gonna attack you. And it's just, unfortunately, it's just it's true. And I don't see what he said was wrong, but I know that made them mad about what he said about the baby. And then I think he had said something about, like, if you're a trans woman having sex with a man, that's not the same as having sex with a biological woman, and they got mad about that. Which
they can bite my ass with that comment.
I know.
They can shove it. And the whole thing with the baby thing. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a baby fan. I don't even know one single video. I don't even know one single song by that mofo. The only reason I really know who and what he is from that stupid Meat Crayon disturbing video by Meat Crayon when he had turned them into a car. If you ever seen that one, go look it up. It's hilarious, but it's really stupid. That's he basically was like, he said the stage, if you don't got HIV from giving some top, then put your hands in the air and stuff. And people basically have offended. The alphabet community got upset because they were like, just because you can't get, gay people are the only people that give AIDS or HIV, and we know that, we obviously know that, but it's a more likelihood. It's a higher likelihood of getting it from somebody who already has it, whether they're gay or homosexual, whether they're heterosexual or homosexual or not.
Yeah, but that I don't. To me, that's just them trying to find a way to make themselves important, because I don't think he said if you got head from a gay dude in a parking lot, or if you got head from a trans person. He just said, or if he said I don't think he said if you got HIV, from a gay or trans person. He just said if you ain't got HIV, put your hands up.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, I'm like, how did y'all link that to yourselves?
Because we live in this a new school society where everything needs to be explicitly summarized. You cannot if you don't specify exactly you're making generalizations, and that is one thing that I think these new school I don't know why they call this Zoomers. I guess these new school Zoomers are trying to basically say, because I don't even know why the hell I'm saying it, because according to my chronological data, I'm one, but I don't like to be involved with them motherfuckers because they weird as shit, eating Tide Pods and every motherfucking thing. But
very much so.
Oh, bro. But yeah, basically they tried to freaking cancel Eminem, but all because of some lyrics that he did a while back. And I'm like, we're not I don't really listen to Eminem, but we're not canceling Eminem. All right. So that ain't happening. They find offensive. Everything in this society is too offensive, and I don't think that really has anything to do with that transgender thing. I think that has more to do with the fact that people have grown up and realized that a lot of people grew up in homes and different environments where they might have seen not the most not civilized, I want to say ethical, homely. I say let's choose that word, homely. That people want a more environment that seems ethical, because people might have grew up. We see so a lot of people grew up as a child and saw some shit that they don't want maybe their kids to grow around with. So and that's normal, especially if you're trying to raise your own family and everything. But you have to draw the line between being overly sensitive with specific particular material and then just being just just trying to understand something and educating yourself. And my whole problem with I'll just give my whole rendition on the trans community. I don't care what y'all do. I don't really care as long as you stop trying to use bullshit knowledge to justify things that we know are not actually true. They got two species of humans on this planet, all right? One that's born with an inverted penis and the one that's born with an outward, all right? Now I'm pretty sure if you went to biology in class or college, you know which one you are and which one you do. One produces, both have estrogen and testosterone. One produces more testosterone, one produces more estrogen. I'm pretty sure you can figure that out by the time you're 12, which before the time you reach 12, that which one you are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't get that whole two genders thing either. I've never understood. I mean, or that more than one, more than two genders thing.
No, according to that, there's over 500 genders.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go a little detailed. Thing about it is they say genders don't matter because they're social constructs. Okay, see, I put holes in. I like to put holes in a lot of people's theories. Anything created by any sort of idea or theoretical template created by man or woman is a social construct. You know why? Because they are used to differentiate the difference of a specific system in which we use to maintain this stuff called order. All right. There's order and there's a balance to things in reality. All right. You cannot have, there needs to be order. All right. There's order to do things and you fucking with the natural order of shit. And that's one thing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't get any of it. I mean, I'm so away from all of that. I don't really watch the news. I don't really watch a ton of TV. There's a lot of things I don't do, so I don't even tune into a lot of the bull crap that they're saying. But the one thing that I do know that they try to get people to believe is they like my thing is I'm kind of like Jordan Peterson. Like they're trying to police people's thoughts and how you feel about certain things.
Oh, they to be honest, they are the reason he actually became famous.
I know exactly, yeah. And it's crazy because like they've taken a situation and they've made it into something where you literally have to like it. I guess my thing is they feel like if like whatever they identify as, you have to call them that, and I don't feel that way. It's not saying that I won't call you that. I'm just saying that I don't have to.
And that's exactly what Jordan Peterson was explaining in his first video that made him famous. I understood him.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's what Jordan Peterson was explaining in the video that made him famous. 100%. The video that made him famous was him talking on campus to a bunch of trans people who were voicing their objections to what his views were. And they were giving a whole bunch of explanations about like trans people are being, ostracized and everything. Like I even heard one person making up excuses about like trans people are being denied housing because they're trans. And then I think that's bullshit for one thing. I don't believe that. That's bullshit. Andrew, you still there? Hello? Okay. Okay, I guess he got put down. But yeah, I was explaining, going back, the trans community seems to have its foot hard up society's butt, and it seems like it's not really going anywhere, and because it's like that genie's not being put in the box, and they're not going back. And I don't have anything against the alphabet, the LGBTQ. I really don't. If that's what your point is, trying to get specific sort of per people. If you're for the the uplifting of a particular type of people, and you feel that they are being cast out and disposed of in society, I have absolutely no ill will towards you trying to make a way for them. I have no idea. My only problem is you cannot force other people to look into your way of thinking. This is human beings were sadly given free will, and we do as what we please with it. And the thing about it, another person I really want to bring in. I don't really listen to this guy. I've never really been a hardcore fan of him for a long time, but Bootsy, yeah, he's been going about saying how how there's specific agendas being practiced around creating a society that is more, I wouldn't say, I would say society is already quite tolerant of homosexuality, but a society that is trying to make homosexuality the main number one, basically making heterosexuals a minority. And that doesn't, in all honesty, that sounds ridiculous, and I'm highly doubtful something like that would ever happen. But the problem is the trans community, in my opinion, seems to be trying to enforce this type of will on people who don't really care much, who either don't like or pretty much have much apathy for what they try to do. Like it's not wrong to not care. You don't have to care about something. My thing about it is you can't live in a society where you expect people to want to care. That's not how society works. One thing in particular I'm real handed about it is that in this society we kind of condemn people for having a different form of views, as I explained earlier. You can't. It's not wrong to have an opinion, and basic, and especially in the I gotta go with this, especially in the Black community. If you have a different view of how things should work, especially when it comes to providing some sort of higher structure for solidarity for the Melanian people, which I can call my quote unquote brothers and sisters. People tend to say that if, like, for example, if trying to increase the marriage problem or single parent households. People will say, well, it's the Black men's problem or it's the Black woman's problem, but no, it's a collection of both. But you can't just go on and bring everybody back up and running. All right, bro. I appreciate you coming back. You had me rambling for a long time, and I don't usually.
Yeah, so I don't know. Something's going on with my internet. I apologize. So if I drop out, I guess my internet's been acting weird all day. So hopefully I don't drop out anymore.
That's that damn Texas internet. That's what you got. That crappy ass
TNT. I guess so, man.
Oh, Betty, it's probably the trans community already caught it. They trying to stop it.
They might be.
But yeah, I was explaining. They're trying to force a certain type of ideology on people that people are not taking to. There's, like I explained earlier, there's nothing wrong with not caring. if you don't care about what trans people want to do, you don't. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, you can't. But trying to shame people into caring about something that only makes you more annoying to the people you're trying to convince.
Exactly. I mean, as I was saying before, what like one of my big things with that is I'm not saying that I won't respect. I'm not saying that I won't respect you. I'm just saying that like or that I won't even call you by your your what you believe I should call you by. I'm just saying I don't have to, and I think that's the big problem with the trans community. The trans community constantly thinks that you have to call them by what they want to be called by, and I mean, just being completely honest, I don't have to. It's just not something that I have to do. Now, yeah, that's not something that I have to do. I mean, I've used this analogy where I say if I start to identify as LeBron James, that doesn't mean that the Lakers are going to come sign me and give me a $40 million contract. Like, and I think that's what they believe. They tend to believe that because I identify as this, or because I say I'm this, or because I say I'm that, that you have to live, you have to abide by my rules. No, I don't have to. Not saying I won't, not saying I won't respect you, but I'm just saying that I don't have to. There's no mandate that says that I have to call you a woman if you were born a man, or that I have to call you a man if you were born a woman. I can call you what I want to call you. And that's just what that is. And I think that's what's making so many people like annoyed about them, is they're trying to put these mandates in order, and like these self-made mandates, and it's like, no, like that's not gonna work. Yeah, that's not something that I have to do. I mean,
I get you. And the thing I was about to, when you were explaining that, I was trying to explain when they talk about, they say, because I remember a guy earlier, they did a review on him. He basically was trying to he basically plastic surgery. He was a white guy who basically used plastic surgery to look Asian. And if you type it up, he paid money for shit because he didn't look nothing close to Asian. And basically, people were basically saying, well, this is no different than what the trans community does. And as usual, they people were saying like, no, this is not what trans people do. You can't change your race, so you can change your but you can change your gender though. You can't change what you were born as.
exactly.
Like, and I feel, and this is exactly what a lot of people were afraid this ideology would lead to. That you keep they were going to imprint it on another type of, from ideology to, to race. Like the lady who the former lady who ran the NAACP, that late Rachel lady. She's actually white, but she panned around as black.
Yeah, I saw that. She looked goofy as hell. She's goofy. I don't know. We live in a weird world nowadays, man. Like,
the world isn't weird. It's just the humans that live here.
yeah. I mean, what's that? What's that saying? It says uh I can't remember how it goes. It says I dang, I can't remember what it says. I think it says freedom of speech is not. It says
I know
freedom
what you're
of
talking
speech is not
about.
bad.
Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
No. It's one that I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go search for it, but it says something along the lines of like um freedom of speech is not.
What is it? No, I hope he ain't clocked out again. That's probably what happened. All right, Andre, look like you're having technical difficulties, man. Mm. All right, well, I guess I'll ramble with you folks for a little bit then until Andre gets his stuff. But freedom of choice, freedom of speech is not just negate you from freedom of consequences. If they maybe that may be close to what you're saying, but yeah, that's understandable. The problem is you can't change. At the end of the day, you can't change what you are. You are what you are, and the thing that kind of confuses me.
Yo,
How you doing, Devon?
I'm all right, man.
Uh,
Tired, but I'm good.
I didn't mean to keep you up.
I ain't no thing. I just got up. That's the thing. My whole day left.
But yeah, we were discussing we're talking about how the trans community has have a specific influence on society, especially with the whole Dave Chappelle stand up.
Okay.
So my question to you is that I ask everybody else, what do you, has the what sort of consequences, whether good or bad, do you think the trans community has impacted on society?
Hmm. Well, one immediate effect is the same. It's a hybrid on trying to maintain a pool, a pile of attention as women have done in the past, trying to get that same rate of attention, but also trying to pull on the dynamic of having more benefits or rights per the masculine frame, masculine energy from the male side of the society.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's doing what women have tried to do for a long time, but they trying to basically master it. Gain sympathy, but claim dominance.
I understand that last part what you're saying came sympathy but maintained dominance. That's very that one is quite evident because we were just talking about how it's very hypocritical for trans people to cry wolf when someone says no one says it voices their opinion about trans folk, but when
Mhm.
they do the same thing, it's called transphobia or homophobia.
It's all manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you don't agree with, you're automatically afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like something, look, if you don't like kiwi fruit, that means you're kiwi phobic.
Okay, first of all, kiwis are bomb as fuck, so they can eat it.
But the point being
Kiwis are
is, it's a fruit, it's an object, and because you don't like it, you're supposed to be scared. Phobic, by definition, means fear. You don't prefer it, don't mean you're afraid of it.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that right there, and it's just terminologies that pop up that counter the whole frame of logic that's just constantly blowing my mind. And people run with it and create whole schools of thought behind it. Stupid, really. Bottom
Mm-hmm.
line.
Drew, do you remember your last statement you were making?
Um,
If not, I can just go on to the next subject.
no, I really don't. I mean, but I mean, pretty much to uh piggyback off of what brother Devin said. I mean, he's right. It's stupid. I mean, I've seen situations where they're saying that if a straight man won't date a trans woman, he's transphobic, and I'm like, okay, whoa, wait. So because I don't want to date somebody who's not a biological woman, I'm transphobic. Like, how about the fact that I see? How about the fact that no matter how much you look like a woman, I still think that you're a man. So it's going to be hard. Like, so I just don't want to date somebody that wasn't born as a biological woman.
You know
Whether
what?
you look whether
I'm
you look
just
better than a natural woman, or whether you look better than a woman because you have all this makeup and everything and all these enhancements, or whether you're biologically born, or whether you whatever it is. Like, my thing is, I don't understand how it's always like it's I like women's rights and like trans rights and gay rights and stuff like that. They look at it kind of like a buffet. It's like they're going through and they're trying to pick out the things that they want that are good, but the
yeah.
things that are bad, they want to say, I don't want that. And
That's the
that's what I'm
feminine
saying.
trait.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to get the equal rights, you got to get the equal less. If you're gonna get like the good stuff, you got to get the bull crap too, as everybody else does. You're not above anybody else, and I think that's the biggest problem, is trying to get them to believe that, okay, if you're equal, then you're gonna be treated equal. But a lot of them don't want to be treated equal. A lot of them want to be treated above that, and when it benefits them, they're like, okay, we're good. But when it doesn't benefit them, they have a problem with it, and that's always been my biggest problem.
Most of these these left liberal groups, they don't want equality, they just want equity. That's what they really want. But well, they want equality without the expectations of they want expectations of circumstance, equality with circumstances.
It's an
Basically.
affliction of narcissism. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's go ahead, my fault, man. I didn't get you off. Go ahead.
It's just a reign of dominance. It's to try to over dominate and consume and it's narcissistic.
Very true.
That's all it is. I mean, if you just flatline bottom it out, I mean, what's the definition of narcissism? I think that's suitable. That's what fit. Like, I was just recently looking at a video. I saw a video a couple of months ago. Then I just recently looked at somebody else's. I'll probably send it to you. I just recently looked at someone else's analysis of that video. It was a panel of men and women, and the premise of it was, should men have a right to know if they're the father to a child or not, and should DNA tests be made mandatory at birth?
Absolutely.
And you know what the women were saying, obviously, but it was all illogical. It was coming from feelings of they try to escape blame. They try to escape blame a lot, like to try to be perfect. I don't know. I don't understand what it is. It's just something.
I think for one reason. I think for one reason that DNA tests have not been mandatory, because on one thing, it goes against protection of privacy law. Basically, it ain't none of your. It's basically they're not paid. The government ain't paid enough to give a damn about whose child it is for. As long as
I like that you said that. I like that you said that's exactly what it is. They want to maintain that sheath of. That's one of women's greatest tools, is to the anonymity, to be. They want to be there in their true nature, but their true nature, is ratchetness. I mean, some of it is in there, but you can say the same thing of a male, which would be said from a female in this case. But the thing is that accountability is overwhelming to their emotional centers. So they want to be able to do what they want to do and not have to face no consequences. Living la la.
My thing about it is this is one thing I partially see with a lot of people. I've seen women who are actually pushing away from the trans community, because they're basically, like I think Drew explained earlier, they're basically saying that trans women can actually be women, but actual women cannot be women. They make up these weird ass ideologies, and they get bullshit scientists to justify it. And they always keep saying that gender is a social construct. I explained it to Drew earlier. Everything created by a human, any idea or sort of system created by man, is a social construct. There's nothing you can really do about that. It is what it is. There are there's like I said, there are laws to how there's laws and balance to how nature works. There's logic. You're either born with an Audi or you're born with an innie.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you saying?
I said very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. You gotta deal from the perspective which God made you. I mean, you can try to change it, but obviously a greater power saw something otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But
you know, and the sad thing about this whole thing, and people get mad at me. I've had a few women get mad at me when I say this, but one of the craziest things about certain things is, and people might laugh, but if a woman wears too much makeup, or if she like draws her eyebrows on, has all this extra stuff on, I really start questioning, like, is she a real woman? Like, that's one thing that I've really done. If a woman draws her eyebrows on, I automatically get like a red. I'm automatically like, why'd you draw your eyebrows?
Double standards.
They don't even get a makeup pen. They just pull out a permanent marker from the drawer.
I guess so. Okay. Man.
And the thing is that when you deck as a woman, when they deck themselves out with all these decadent additives and accessories, it got to be, and you like it says, accessories. They're add-ons. It must be to create an illusion or a fantasy of something else. Now the thing is, I've seen some of the same women that do such a thing get angry at a male who go get the prosthetics on the head pieces or beards or whatever. It's like, how do y'all get so angry? It's like y'all want to be ahead of the game. Y'all want to be able to present illusion to get ahead, be able to lie and a lot of gag in it. But if somebody does that to you, you're devastated.
I mean, for us guys, we don't really have to really do that much.
I mean, we don't have to do it. My whole thing is, men, we.
There are some guys who do it.
I mean, what the point I'm making is, as men, when they do it, we see it. It's for our enjoyment, or we. Expect.
Well, Devin, I'll explain my part. Devin, you can go. Again? You can finish your part. Your
what
point.
I'm saying is, it's a custom that, and it's the same thing what geishas did, and now it's an everyday custom. And now, unless they're looking picture perfect, they want to be perfect, even though they know they're using all these loopholes, and yet they want to have all the benefits and privileges of being seen as more precious and not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Not as intimidating. It's like needing extra. It's a weird swirl. I'm gonna call it like that. It's a weird swirl where they want to have that power, but they want to have behind looking like they don't have it until they want to show it.
As guys, we don't really need to do that much for ourselves to look good. Like, all we need to do is get a nice haircut, and maybe some extra, put some gloss in our beard if we have some. Man, all we gotta do is use soap and water, and boom, that's it.
It really ain't even. I'm just talking about the reaction that is gotten from the woman when a male does it. But then on top of that, because y'all want to look like that on the regular, y'all create all type of competition for yourself. But I guess y'all like it. Y'all create competition from from the trend.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of women that goes back into the the sports thing. Women are getting upset because trans women are entering their sports leagues.
Right. Right.
Like that's honestly, I'm actually know how the women feel. That's really unfair. You taking away spots that women have worked hard, and then they like to use the excuse. Well, what if a woman has a high amount of testosterone? See, I want everybody whoever is going to listen to this hear this. There is a difference between authenticity and augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
A woman who runs, whose testosterone is little. Let's hypothetically, this 5'9" woman who's run very fast and she produces a lot more testosterone, so she might have a lot of extra hair under her armpit. But guess what? She's still a freaking woman. Versus a dude who's decided to get this extra surgery and pump all this freaking estrogen inside of him, but still use the testosterone that he still generates inside his biological parts to have an extra edge. That is a difference.
Very much so. I used to box. I used to box and do martial arts like competitively.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things that I saw, there was a female that we trained that we helped her get ready for the Olympics because she was gonna go try out for the Olympics. And I mean, she was just, leaps and bounds better than any female we put her in a ring with. We put her in the ring with a 15-year-old kid who had been training for literally, I think maybe 2 years. And they looked like they were the same level of like experience. And keep in mind, this girl had been training since she was probably like 8 or 9. And she was probably 15, 16. And I mean, just a world-class fighter, has gold medals, has titles from all over the place. We put her in a ring with a kid who was 15 and had trained for 2 years. And they were about the same level. For somebody to sit here and try to make that argument that, oh man, well, there's estrogen blockers and there's this and there's that. Nah, man, I'm sorry, excuse my language, but you can kiss my ass with that, because I have seen men who are just bare minimum basic, who can just overpower a woman like just easily. And you're taking men and you're saying, okay, well, because he has boobs and long hair and he identifies as a woman, now he can fight a woman. Now, if there is a woman, now there are some women who say, you know what, I'll fight him, and there are some women who will do it, but there's a lot of transgender, women who are going into, combat sports and into sports with women, and they're not letting women know. They're pulling this Joanna Man type stuff, and they're not, and they're not letting women know. And women are going into these rings thinking, okay, I'm just fighting a girl who's taller and a little bit more muscular than me. And they're getting blasted, or they're going onto a basketball court, or they're going out, doing these combat sports, and these women are getting rocked, and that's dangerous and that's bad. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, Joe Rogan said the same thing, and I'm right there with them. Like, you can kiss my ass. I am never gonna agree to that. I am never gonna agree to that because, like I said, I used to box, and I've boxed guys who were top level guys, and just the levels are so much different, and it gets real dangerous when a man is punching a woman, in the face, and he takes estrogen blockers. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, kick that. I'm not trying to hear that.
Yeah, because testosterone makes dudes not test the bitch in each other. It makes people test the bitch in each other. That's not estrogen. Is kind of the opposite.
No.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever met a girl ever who has a bigger fist than me. And I'm not saying I have a huge fist. I don't have like a Shaq fist or anything like that. But I'm just saying I've never met a girl who's had a bigger fist than me. So imagine that whenever you're punching women or you're beating up women. I guess it's. Yeah, I can't get over that. Yeah, so yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that either. I definitely don't agree with that.
Well, it's interesting all the loopholes or things that are allowed when it only depends on how beneficial it is for a particular group.
Okay,
Exactly.
Because you'll have a lot of women who will take side on or stand up for trans or gay people until it negatively affects them.
I appreciate you going with another point because that's basically kind of like with I know I bring him up all the time with the Kevin Samuels situation. Black women love to call his ass gay and everything, but at the same time they root for homosexuals,
Yeah,
the homosexual community. So you gonna shame or do so? So when you call Kevin Samuels gay, are you saying that in a good way or a bad way? Because you're either gonna root for the homosexual community, or you're gonna condemn them like you condemn Kevin Samuels just because he speaks a specific type of lingo.
right.
Yeah. But I mean
women, and that's why I say women, man, I don't take no credit from it. Women are very fucking intelligent, very smart. More times than not, the intelligence of 3 guys to 1 female in a group is how the ratio go. I can't never deny it. And the reason is they have to be. They live in fear. And they fear produces a certain kind of mechanism that's going to cause them to have to survive any situation or try to by any means. That's why they ass come off so ferocious.
Very different. Very true.
That's my personal thought anyway. It's like it just seems that they always got to feel like they got to prove themselves. They always got to withstand the fire of whatever the situation perspires to.
Yeah, as I said, it's that whole selective equality, that whole selective feminism thing, But I mean, I mean, I don't know if it's like this in any other community, but I know definitely in the Black community, the easiest way to assassinate a man's character is to attack his sex or to attack his sexuality.
You sound like you got little dick energy and all that other good guy.
Exactly. Like I
You
said,
know what? What's so funny about that is
either his sex game or his sex to attack either his sexuality or his sex game in general.
You just mad because you don't get no pussy.
So that's crazy.
That's exactly how it be. You see it in comment sections and everything, man. And you absolutely right, Drew. That's the number one, especially in the Black community, because I hate to say it, you know how it's in the Black community, you know how sexualized young Black men are. So as soon as somebody tries to test your gangster in the bedroom, you gotta either you gotta defend that with your life, because if you don't get if you ain't hooking it up when it comes to the sexual side in the Black community, then you basically lower than dirt.
Yep, that ain't no lie.
Very true.
It's like you need to be doing 2 things. You need to be good at sex, and you need to be getting money, which by default means you need to be having some skill or service that you're excellent at. We got a lot of standards we got to stand on too.
Yeah, I mean,
and women have, it's like no matter what generation you in and what corner you in, women are going to always appeal to or receive the brunt of people's empathy and sympathies. Going back to that whole DNA test at birth. Now, what was said, and the person that was analyzing the video was, if you rephrased it from men should have a right to know who their children are to children should have a right to know who their fathers are, it's a whole different everybody would agree. Everybody would agree on that. Everybody would agree on that. And it's like, I can't, it's sickening. Like I watched another show where this dude did 5 years for not paying child support, and come to find the kid ain't his, and she still talks to the father. She knows who the father is.
That sounds fucking deplorable as hell. I swear. Because I think there was a video. There was a video. There was a whole story going around earlier this year. A dude died when he found out his son wasn't his. A dude beat the shit out of another. I think last year's story came out. A dude beat the shit out of his wife because he found out 2 of his kids weren't his.
I mean, it blows me on the fact that to hide your secret because your feelings are more important.
Paternity fraud needs to be a crime. Paternity fraud definitely needs to be a crime.
It does. It's fraud. Obviously, it needs to be a crime.
And think about it. If you think about it, it's actually from a financial perspective because you're basically taking a person's. You're basically making an asset off of another person's. You're basically trying to get assets from another person that they have not willingly relinquished any sort of confirmation for, i.e., they even agree to take care of another person's child.
Yeah,
and they,
I mean,
go ahead. And then they like to make up the excuse. Well, it shouldn't matter. Well, blood don't always make family. It just shouldn't matter if it's his kid or not.
It don't matter because what matters more is you saving face. What matters more is you not feeling shamed or whatever you feel. That's what's mattering more. How you feel about the situation, who you want to be the daddy, rather than who the actual father is. Actually, more than this kid knowing their identity, knowing what they come from, knowing what they're capable of or composed of. Motherfuckers don't think that far ahead. They think about what's good for them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
but
always.
You know what's crazy? With all these women's rights, rather than go through all that shit, guess what? You ain't got to tell nobody who no daddy is. You could get an abortion, nobody would ever know.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. They'd rather go through with having the kid in a lifetime of shit because it's their kid, because it's their I look at it like this. Women look at their children a lot of times as objects, toys, commodities.
Especially if they have it from by a man who actually has some sort of substance.
Yeah, I've always said I've always said I don't have a lot of things that I fear, but I have 2 fears that I have, two, I guess, things that I've always feared.
Well, is one of them having a child being tied down to a woman that you don't want to be with?
Kind of. It's more so having a child with the woman and her using my child as leverage to get her way with me.
That is a very strange fear. That is a horrible fear for me.
Yeah,
that's honestly worse than the worst dream nightmares I've ever had in my life. Because between my dreams, I can't die there. I can die in reality though.
Yeah, and going off of what Devin was saying, it's crazy because women think it's so wrong to sit here and have this DNA testing going on, and they're like, oh well, DNA testing is wrong, and mandatory DNA testing is wrong.
That would eliminate so much bull, man.
Well, for one thing, another reason I don't think because it happens. It doesn't happen in a high climate, or at least I wouldn't say that either. The fact is that some dudes don't either do a DNA test when the kid is born, or they just don't want to. The old saying goes, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe."
Check this out. This is the thing. If a person has nothing to hide and they care about putting they loved one mind at ease, the woman cares about putting her man's mind at ease, and they ain't got nothing to hide, it shouldn't be no argument. Just like If you scared to walk, no, I'm gonna make it very simple. Wife wakes up in the middle of the night. I heard a sound. Who's expected? Even if he don't believe shit is going on, even if y'all in a maximum security place,
We gonna make your ass get up and check.
No. I mean, she can bark. She gonna do all that stuff to fuss, but ultimately, a man is gonna walk downstairs and check to put his woman's mind at ease. Why can't we get that same empathy with that type of matter?
Well, because in my opinion, I think all humans are selfish, but women's selfishness drains from a self of entitlement, mostly due to the fact that they feel like they are weaker, and due to that fact, they feel like they should be taken care of more promptly.
And what really blows me away about that whole situation that I didn't even get to is the fact that like women think it's wrong for a man to request a mandatory DNA test, but they don't think it's wrong to take you to court if you are the father and you're not paying for the kids.
Yep.
All right, I don't want to take y'all off topic about the women thing with the trans community, but I wanted to go over one more subject before we got off tonight. I wanted to talk about if you've all heard about the Kyle Rittenhouse's trial.
Oh yeah.
What are your views about that?
Kangaroo court.
Yeah. I'll be honest, man. I don't really watch a lot of news. I really don't. So I don't even so what happened? Like who did he kill?
So basically, Kyle Rittenhouse was some 17-year-old kid at the time who was going around being a vigilante, and during the George Floyd whole situation, like his mom drove him to freaking I don't know where it happened. Drove him to state lines, and he had an AR. He was walking around with an ARK, and in that situation, people doing crazy shit, people throwing stuff, looting and shit. And according to him, he got attacked. So he got attacked, and he killed two people and injured one.
So, from what I read and what I remember, everything I've been following, he had a buddy that was older than him purchased the weapon. He's from Illinois. His father lives in Illinois. His mother drove him to where supposedly a buddy wanted him to guard one of those stores from rioting after I forget the man's name. The black guy was shot in the back.
George Floyd.
No, it wasn't George Floyd. It was another black guy.
Is it that Aubrey guy?
It was in Wisconsin, Kenosha. I think I can't remember exactly. I just remember seeing he was getting back into his car, and the cop grabbed the back of his shirt and shot him in the back several times.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I remember that one.
That was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So his buddy that had purchased it, I think he was 18 at the time. He purchased the AR. I don't know. I can't remember if he had it in Illinois or if it was here or in Wisconsin waiting for him. When he got there, him supposedly being to guard the store and telling people, getting into the act of, I don't know, playing hero. He got into it with three individuals. Two got killed. One was just shot. So that's the story. The bottom line in that to me is that the one thing they could have charged him with and found him guilty on, that judge threw out. And I got to go look back, but I don't got no understanding of why. Even if you could claim self-defense or reckless homicide of some sort, you wasn't supposed to have no weapon. And then on top of that, because bodily harm was committed and people died, his mother was automatically to be an accessory because he helped it facilitate by transporting the boy to where it happened.
The fact that he got less time than Brooke Turner, who raped an unconscious woman.
He didn't get any time. That's the thing is, when they present charges, you have to be found guilty on those things or not. So if the state is trying to find you guilty, they're going to find you guilty on things that they know they can catch you on. The one thing he could have got charged with, which he did get charged with, and the judge dropped, was the one thing that nobody could slip away from. You had a weapon. They couldn't have got killed if you didn't have that weapon. You're underage and you ain't had no permits.
No, I think they were still doing at the. Oh no, he was in. I think he was still in. Because they recently just the concealed. They said I need a concealed carry permit. But I think that was.
He didn't have none of that. He was 17,
that
and his parents didn't get him none of that, and he was 17. So regardless of anything, he was supposed to have a weapons charge. He got off scot-free. Nobody's held accountable. But guess, check this though. The guy that purchased the weapon faces 25 years for giving him the weapon. Now, how y'all gonna not find this boy guilty?
That's true.
But try to charge him with anything. It's like y'all took the weapon away as if it didn't exist. And if it didn't exist, you can't charge this guy for purchasing it. Then who pulled the trigger?
Exactly. All I ever saw was the fact that, like, I saw the meme whenever he was
like, crying meme.
Yeah, the little crocodile.
That was one of the fakest ass tears I ever. That was almost as fake. If you heard about that, if you ever heard about that lady down here in Baton Rouge, who basically killed, who was accomplice to killing her 2-year-old daughter with her boyfriend. You should have saw the video where how she wasn't even, she had the most fakest tears coming out of her, man. Yeah.
I think I saw that. Like did she beat her kid to death or something like that?
What'd you say?
What?
Drew?
I said, did she beat her kid?
No. Devon, I think you got echo.
Hold on.
But repeat that, Drew.
Oh, I said, didn't she beat her kids to death or something like that?
Yeah, she beat her kid. She beat her daughter, and she hit her against the cabinet, and the cabinet's wound caused the little girl to die. So what her boyfriend did was he drove her to Mississippi and dumped her body off there.
Goofy.
And then you know what the even more hilarious shit about it is when the dude left and took the little girl's body, she put an APB out on the girl and said the last time she saw the little girl was with her boyfriend.
So she pretty much set him up to take the fall.
And you know what? He sung like a goddamn caged bird.
As he should have.
As he should have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like,
I think it holds another story like that happened in Houston. A 35-year-old woman let her boyfriend, her white boyfriend, beat her 8-year-old son to death.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Dude, if you know who BGS on YouTube is, he did a review on that shit, and I agree everything. That community failed those kids, man. That was a horrible ass story to listen to.
But you know what that comes from?
Mm-hmm.
That comes from this new age shit of not wanting anybody to touch your kids. You know, you can nowadays. It's sad. You know, back when I was growing up, if I was messing up, anybody in my little neighborhood could whoop my ass and tell my mom, and tell my mom, oh yeah, your son was acting a fool, so I whooped his ass. And then I got another ass when she got home.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and there's a reason that people say that kind of stuff. But now that we live in this age where you can't say anything to a child, you can't touch a child, you can't check a child, you can't do anything.
But thing about it is that this situation, this woman was on some sort of government assistance. And the thing about it, I don't know if you read the whole story. She basically left. She had 4 little boys. She had a total of She had a total of three little boys and a daughter. The daughter got sent went and lived with the grandmother because she was being unruly. But according to the CPS, is because the little girl was being abused, so she left. So the family knew that there was abuse happening with the lady. So basically, the woman literally left the boys in their apartment for a whole year by themselves. And the even most horrific part about this story was that the boyfriend beat the 8-year-old boy to death, and they left his body in the apartment for a whole year.
Yeah, left him in the closet. I heard about that. Yeah.
That I cannot imagine the traumatic horror that those little boys had to deal with, having their little brother rolled up in a blue freaking blanket, dead for a whole year. The only and the thing about it is the way the police found out was because the 15-year-old boy, he called the fucking police because he told his mom he couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't stay like this. And then she literally had the audacity when she was being she was being questioned, and she literally had the audacity to say, I checked on them every 2 weeks. 2 fucking weeks. As if that's supposed to mean some shit.
Boy, that dope be having people tweaking, man.
I don't know what the hell it is, but it sure is hell. Whatever it is, they need to get it off the damn street.
Yeah. It's sad, man. That is sad. Like, whew, man, that is sad, bro. Like, I can only imagine what those little kids felt like, or what they were thinking. Like, how come my mom leave me here in this situation? That's, man.
Like, imagine that.
That hurt my heart. Bro.
You finish.
Oh no, that's all I said. I said that's all I could matter. That's all I could think of was that, man. That hurt my heart to hear that, man.
Like, it hurt my heart because imagine you just coming home from like the tent. Some of the tenants literally said they had a smell that was a horrid odor that was coming from the damn building, and they didn't know what it was. Turned out it was the little boy's rotten corpse.
That's terrible.
And I can't imagine you coming home from freaking school, taking your little boy home, and then you having to look in this dark, damp room, and from across the hall realizing that it stinks in there. And the reason it stinks in there is because your damn little brother, your little brother is rotting alive, rotting dead.
Yeah, that little boy's gonna need a ton of therapy, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. But people want to hear stories about this 18-year-old shit who freaking decides to go across freaking country to shoot people. Could have fucking stayed at home and played fucking Fortnite like a regular teenager.
Yeah, he definitely better. They definitely better hide him, because if they don't.
If anything, he probably got the NRA and all them other motherfuckers on his side. He'll be all right. Then ain't nobody gonna touch him. He got away just like Zimmerman did.
Oh yeah.
Zimmerman lives in Texas. I don't know where at in Texas he lives, but I know he lives in Texas.
If somebody
repeat that, Devin.
He would be got. I said, if anybody wanted him bad enough, he would be got. That's how we let go of things other people do to us outside of us.
Yeah, true. Very true.
All right, gentlemen. I'm at the hour and 9-minute mark. All right, so last and final thoughts on what do you think the trans community, how do you think the trans community is inclination to heterosexualism is pouring out? Do you believe that they are influencing transhumanism, or do you think that it's just a myth and They basically just keep in their own little side in their in their own little weird bubble.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Devin.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is self-serving. Until you come to a place where you mutually, and then even people will look at this like I'm about to mention, but people will look at it as something possibly subversive, even if you're catering to balancing the equation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like even when you do things that literally, in some cases, literally even the playing field around, people are going to look at the thing as if to say or wonder what's in the background, what else is being done. I don't trust this. So I don't think they're going to change. Even if they do, that's going to be the thought. What's the other agenda? But most of everything that's been done is overall serving that community, serving whatever the entity has in mind to do.
Drew.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think until you can get them to understand that they've got to accept both sides of the situation, you're always gonna have. Well, I mean, we're always gonna have this problem. I mean, and you're always gonna have people who think that they're above everybody else, And the crazy thing that I'm starting to realize is it's a select group of people, or it's a select group of them who are acting like that. Because most gay, trans, lesbian people, to be honest, they're just kind of like whatever. Like they just go on and live their everyday lives, and they don't care about like any other stuff that happens with them, unless something really bad happens. But
Yeah.
it's a select group of just people who are just really soft and looking for their 15 minutes of fame, and whatever they can do to get somebody in trouble so they can get their 15 minutes of fame is what happens. And I'm with Dave Chappelle. I'm sorry, like what he said. He said what did he say? He said that he said that they canceled him from the high school, and he's like honestly they canceling me from stuff I don't even want to do, so I'm not even tripping. That's the way I look at it. Like, hey, whatever. If you're gonna cancel me, but
we not canceling Dave Chappelle.
We're just talking about overall agenda on top of that, though. I ain't talking each individual. Above all, the individuals make the group, and not the other way around, really. So when I say that from that perspective of when I say they, I'm talking about a group, a core thought, a school of thought, a core people. Because a lot of individuals going to do what's best for them, and in those doing what's best for them, a lot of them people are just like hippies, just free spirited, don't give a damn. That's just people.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of work, man. I really do believe, but I mean, we're gonna have to get them to understand, like, hey, as I said before, if you're gonna get the equal rights, you got to get the equal lefts. You got to get the good and the bad. You cannot sit here and act as if you're above anybody, because you're not. And until we can get them to understand that, which I don't know if that'll ever happen in today's day and age, we're always gonna have an issue with them. We're always gonna have an issue with their thought process.
Like I said, if you have a right to be whatever you choose, just know nobody has to accept what you are, and but more importantly, you have to accept what you are, because people talking about body positivity and people being accepted in their own skin. Well, you are in the skin that you were born in. Ain't nothing more. Believe it or not, I know I don't like going in. I think transgender people and incels have a very high ideology. They basically believe they're entitled to things that they don't really, have a right to. One thinks they're deserving of female adulation and attention. The other one believes they deserve to be called something that nobody has to call it. And at the same, now this is not all trans people. I absolutely agree with that. But at the same time, There's a specific ideology that goes around in that specific sector, and not everybody believes that. So whether you want to say that those people are being transphobic, or they just have a different view of opinion, or they have a different preference, whether that happens, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because those people are going to do what they want to do, because it's a free world, because humans are what they are.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I thank you for being up tonight.